welcome to the Teaching Corner. So far on my channel, everything that I've given to you and explained to you are things that you can readily use in your classroom that are free or either relatively free that you can immediately start using. But as teachers or even as parents, but especially as teachers, we're constantly needing continuing education units. And so I wanted to do a little series on various things that I've been trained in over the years that have been extremely helpful, because one of the things that's frustrating is to go to a training and it's not good information, or you get very little information, you feel like you've wasted your money. And as teachers, we're limited on money, we're limited on resources, and we want things that we know are going to be beneficial and are going to help us right out of the gate. So today I wanted to talk to you about Orton Gillingham, and you've probably heard me talk a lot about that. I'm trained in Orton Gillingham, but Orton Gillingham is an approach, and it is a direct and explicit approach, which is usually why people will do it one-on-one or in small group, and it's directly and explicitly taught to the students. It's multi-sensory and it uses the AVK triangle. I'll put a link down below to the video that I did on the AVK triangle, but it's multi-sensory. It's structured and sequential, so we're going from easy information to more difficult information. Even in our lesson plans, we'll go from sounds to words to sentences to paragraphs. So it's structured, it's sequential, it's diagnostic. We're constantly testing kids, seeing where they are, seeing what mistakes that they've made, and then it's prescriptive. In other words, we're using what we found from the previous lesson, errors that they've made, and we're reinserting that back into lessons. Now, this program has been out for over 80 years. It was founded on Dr. Orton. Samuel Orton was a neuroscientist and neuropsychiatrist and pathologist, and he worked with kids that at the time had what they called word blindness. They were relatively intelligent children, but they were having difficulty learning how to read, and he was the one that discovered that dyslexia is a brain-based problem with an educational solution. So he worked with Anna Gillingham, who was a teacher that was also working with these kinds of students, and she was developing lessons that help these students learn how to read. So that's why it's called the Orton Gillingham approach, and it is an approach, and it's the umbrella term that is used for any of the anything that comes out of Orton Gillingham is going to be really good for students with dyslexia. So things like Wilson or any of the Linda Mood Bell programs are all going to be good things for students with dyslexia, and there's several others that fall under the umbrella, but this is the granddaddy umbrella. So this is what I've been trained in, and there are several levels. There's the educator, the associate, the certified, and then fellow. So I am at the certified level. But if you're a classroom educator and you want to be able to use Orton Gillingham in your classroom, they do have the Orton Gillingham classroom educator level, and in order to get this, you have to have a bachelor's degree. You have to have 30 hours of training by a fellow or a fellow in training, and I'll put a link down below to this website, to the Academy of Orton Gillingham Practitioners and Educators website, and it'll have information that you can find where you can find a fellow or you can get training in your state or your area. But then you do a practicum that's 50 hours, and it needs to be over 8 consecutive months, which isn't difficult if you're a classroom teacher, because 50 hours, you can either do 51-hour lessons in Orton Gillingham or 130-minute lessons, and we teach for 170 days. So it's not difficult to do this, but during that you're going to have 5 observations, and these are wonderful because they will help you to become a better teacher. They will give you helpful input, and then they will assign certain readings for you to do, and then after you've done all of that, there's an application fee. It's currently $100 and then $75 for yearly dues. Then if you want to become an Orton Gillingham tutor, so you want to work more one-on-one, or maybe you're a special educator and you work in a resource setting where you're pulling students out in small groups, you may want a little further training, and so that would be the associate level. And for that, you still need a bachelor's degree, but this time it's going to be 60 hours of coursework, and you'll have 100 hours of supervised practicum over a year's time. And again, this has to be by a fellow or a fellow in training. And to get your associates, there's a volume of works that you're going to have to read, and you write some reports on, and then you'll do a portfolio. And then with that, there's an application fee. And for the portfolio, your fellow or fellow in training will tell you what needs to be included in all of that. And then that application fee is $175, and then yearly dues of $90. And then if you go beyond that, so I'm at the certified level, which means I can teach kids who are at beginning, bridge, or advanced. So I can teach morphology, I can teach older students. So at the certified level, you have to do all of the associate level things, but then you also do 100 hours minimum. So you have now 160 hours, and it's 200 hours of supervised practicum over 2 years. So now this has become a 3-year process to get your associate and your certified. And you will have 10 observations, and then of course the portfolio and the application fee is $275, and yearly dues is $150. And then finally, the very top tier is to become a fellow, and for that it is required that you have a master's degree. You have to already have the certified level. I believe you have to have been certified for 2 years, and during those 2 years since you received your certified, you're required to have X number of hours of tutoring where you've worked with students, and then it's 90 hours minimum of coursework, and then 300 hours. So this is a 3-year commitment beyond the 3 years. So now you're at a total of 6 years in order to get your fellow. But fellows are able to teach teachers. So if that's a passion of yours and something you really desire to do, then you can work on getting your fellow, and then you're able to go out and teach other teachers how to do this. The one thing is, in order to become a fellow, you must be trained by a fellow or a fellow in training, which can be difficult. And again, that link down below will tell you where you can find a fellow so that they'll help you with that process. And that application fee is $500 and yearly dues of $250. So this is an excellent training. I feel like every teacher should at least have the educator level, because this is the way all teachers should teach in their classroom. And if you are a special ed teacher, or you have a child yourself that is dyslexic, this is such wonderful information to know the rules, to be able to help them figure out. Now, of course, this is designed for dyslexic students, which in order to be labeled dyslexic means they have to have average to above average IQ. And if you've watched my videos before on the Orton Gillingham sequence, it is fairly cognitive because they're learning the rules and how to apply the rules. But understanding that makes reading so much easier. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!